Hey, how's it going, guys? My name's Steve. Everybody calls me Walrus. I've never done a YouTube video before. I'm surprised I can do this little bit. I took engineering in school for 3 years before I found out I had nothing to do with choo-choo trains, so trying to figure out how to do a little picture-in-picture for a reaction video and stuff, way beyond my level of braininess. Anyways, this is a response to Trainer Lucas's song "I'm Not Racist." And since it's my first video, you have to understand that I don't come across this lightly, but it really opened my eyes to something that I thought I knew on. I pride myself in, if I don't know about something, I try to learn as much as I can about it. Ask questions, do a little bit of research, stuff like that. And I'm basically making this video in hopes that for the last 3 days, I've pretty much done a whole lot. I'm sick and I can't work. I got really bad medical problems. But for the last 3 days, I really haven't done a whole lot other than watch a whole bunch of reaction videos to this video. The majority of them have been by black people. And I find it really interesting. So I'm making this video in hopes that some of the black people that already done a reaction video to this would maybe make a reaction video or some way to video conference or something like that, because as I said, it's opening my eyes. And most of the people that, there's some weirdos, but most of the people that have done a reaction video, whether they be black or white, have a pretty positive response and haven't been extreme one way or the other. They've said, hey, listen, dude's kind of a jerk, but he makes some valid points. And just so you know, just a little bit of background of me so you know where I'm coming from. I live in Ontario, Canada. And where I'm from, there's low-income housing places, but there's, at least where I'm from, there's not really ghettos or projects or anything like that. We have black people here, obviously, definitely a minority. There's not a whole lot of them. But the black people we do have here still come by a lot of white culture. And you don't like there. We don't really have a whole lot of street gangs or anything like that here. So I really wasn't exposed to that much, but I've been involved in some way or another since I've been about 15 years old in emergency services, whether it be police, fire, ambulance. I was on auxiliary with the police, but I was never actually a full cop or anything like that. Most of my background's in ambulance and fire. So I really didn't have a whole lot of access to black people or just different cultures until I wanted to get training and wanted to be, not sound like I'm blowing my own horn, but I'm the type of person, I like to be better than the average person, especially in emergency services. I want to be the guy that if one of my fellow firefighters or medics or whatever was to get into trouble and get hurt, they want to say, dude, if I go down, I want Walrus to be there. And so I tried to do my best there. So what I did is I left my job and I moved down to Prince George's County, Maryland. They have a unique program down there where you go down and you become a live-in member, which you live right at the firehouse. They got little apartments and things like that there. And you answer calls for them. They're a very busy department, busiest combination fire department in North America as far as I know. And in exchange for going down there and answering calls, they have a tuition program where they pay to send you to school. So, and with how busy it is down there, you get experience down there in a year that you might not get in Canada in 5 years, depending where you are. So I went down there, and that was my first real experience to ghettos or low-income housing or whatever you want to call it. And I was not raised with racism at all. If I would even use the N-word or anything racism, my mother or forefather would kick my ass. So when I went down there, I gotta admit, I become a little bit racist. Well, let me rephrase that. I thought I became a little bit racist. You gotta understand, emergency services, fire, ambulance, police, it's just the way it works. They get called more to low income areas than they do high. Whether it be just poor health due to poor nutrition because they don't have a whole lot of money, whether it be gang violence, whether it be drug overdoses, whether it be whatever. We're there a lot more. Like there was some low-income housing areas that it wouldn't be uncommon for me to be there 8 times in a day for different things. So, and unfortunately where I was in Prince George's County, Maryland, there's a high black population. There's a high illegal Mexican immigrant population as well. So, because more of them are down there, you start to get going there all the time, and it just, I don't know how to word this. I thought I started to get a little bit racist because you're dealing with crap all the time. You're seeing the people that you know are on assistance, and I'm not saying they all are by any means, but they're in that particular housing area or those locations. There's a lot of people on government assistance, on food stamps, stuff like that, and you see them that drinking a lot or smoking dope and stuff, and they got kids in the house, and the kids are almost starving to death. But the guys or whatever, or the guys wearing their big chains and got 20 pairs of running shoes and all that kind of stuff. They've got that, but they a lot of them didn't seem to provide very well for their kids if the fathers were there at all. And that's not just black, like I said, there's a lot of black people there, but Mexicans and white people and everything. So, and you see a lot of senseless violence. Parents that you get called there because they're overdosing on the floor. Why there's 4 or 5 kids sitting there watching cartoons. They don't know any better. They're raised around that stuff. And I thought, as I said, I started to get a little bit racist after dealing with this stuff, but after watching this video, I don't think, and hear me out before you say this guy is retarded, I don't think there is a whole lot of racism. What I think, and it's a line in this song, is it's a difference in culture. Like, out of all the emergency calls I've ever taken, I've never said, okay, this is Rescue Squad 8, whatever unit number it is responding. Can you tell me if the patient is black? Can you tell me if the people that are inside the house that are trapped are Mexican? Nobody I know has ever asked that. They go to help because they can. So I don't think it's a race thing. I think that's the fact is we don't understand each other's cultures. For example, you not knowing me, like I like to help people, I like the adrenaline rush and stuff, but I've had a lot of people say to me, what are you doing? You are going to somebody you don't even frickin' know. You are going into a burning building. You could die at any moment. The house could cave in on you, your breathing apparatus could back up, you could catch yourself on fire and burn to death. Are you nuts? Why are you doing that shit? And you might not be able to get through your head and think, what the fuck is wrong with this guy? What is he thinking? And I think that is more what the problem is not understanding any culture, because you can't understand something you haven't experienced. And I think that's what it is. And I watched a video. I watched it a lot, like with the reactions and all that kind of stuff. And I really think that's what it is. It's not understanding the culture and seeing it from the other person's view. You just can't. It's like, for example, I don't consider myself racist at all, but Muslims are really affecting me right now. I've met some Muslims that are very nice people, very respectful, very kind, the whole bit. But the only access I have to Muslims now, because I've got very sick, so I've moved back home here to Canada, is what I see on the news, which is, and you might agree with me and have the same, excuse me, reservations that I do, as far as I can't understand what the hell's going through their head. Why are 55 and 60-year-old men marrying 5-year-old girls? And then they marry them, they take them home, they, how should I say this politely, consummate their marriage, and they physically destroy them, their insides, and a lot of them die because of the trauma of these guys trying to have sex with these little girls. Or being able to, if your wife doesn't do something that you might not agree with, you beat the hell out of her, or take her out and stone her until she dies. What are they doing? Like, what gives you the right as a Muslim man to be able to take your woman and cut off all the external parts of her genitalia so she doesn't like sex? She can't feel sex. The only reason is she's a baby-making machine. The only person that should get pleasure out of sex is the guy, and she better give it up whenever he wants. Now that's their culture. I think they're fucking stupid. I don't know what the hell is going through their head. Why do they think this is acceptable? But we can't make a full judgment because we don't know. We weren't raised like that. Maybe it makes perfect sense to them. Maybe it's okay in the Quran that they believe, because I believe I'm a Christian. I didn't say I was a good Christian. I'm still working on that part. But I believe in God. I believe in Jesus. But I can't understand how in their religion they think it's okay if you're not Muslim. It says this in the Quran a bunch, because I've done some research and read some, that if you come across somebody and they were not Muslim and you can't convert them, you have the right to kill them. What the fuck? And we can't, even though I don't agree with it, you might agree with me that you don't see what's going on there either. I don't think we can fully appreciate that because we've never experienced it. We don't know a lot of factors, and I think this is it. So what I'm hoping to do with this is, as I said, I want to see if I can figure out how to send this video to a lot of your reaction videos, people doing reaction videos, and see if they could respond. A lot of people say, hey, yeah, this is a great video, it's very touching, it's very deep, and we should do more of it. But not a whole lot of people are saying, okay, what can I do to change this? Instead of just saying, hey, yeah, it's cool, I hope more comes out of this, what can I do to start a dialogue? So I'm hoping, in order to understand each other's cultures, not necessarily race, but cultures, maybe as a white guy, I can explain some things to you as black people, and maybe as black people you can explain some things to me, and you can see how you see it through your eyes and I see it through my eyes. I know this video is going to go a lot longer than what I wanted it to, but I hope you hang in there because I know what I want to do. But as I said, it's my first video. I've never done this crap before. So what I was going to do is, I haven't figured out how to put that little picture-in-picture thing and go back and play it. So I'm hoping that you guys have all seen the video, whoever looks at this, if anybody looks at this. If you haven't, please go watch it. It's Janor Lucas, I'm Not Racist. If you haven't watched it, pause this, go check it out, and come back. And maybe we can go through a little bit. What I was going to do is play it back on my phone so we know roughly where it is. And maybe I can put my point of view, or I have some questions, and maybe you can answer them for me, and maybe ask some questions back. I really don't know how this is going to work. This might be a big bomb. I don't know. But I think that we all need to do a little bit to try. And if this works great out, that's freaking awesome. If not, I didn't really have anything to do much anyways tonight. So I'm going to go and start this. And you should be able to hear it anyways. and I'll pause it and comment on perspectives here. Now, for anybody that hasn't watched the video yet, you have to understand, especially if you're black and it starts off right away, you might get really angry. Give it a chance. It's not what you think it is. What they're doing in the video, without trying to spoil too much, is they're taking the stereotypical pompous ass white person and the stereotypical pompous ass black person, and they're doing their sides. So it sounds like this guy's just really rude at the beginning, but give the video a chance and wait to comment till the end, and I think you'll appreciate a lot more. But it starts off with the white guy here.
With all due respect, I don't have pity for you black niggas. That's the way I feel. Screaming Black Lives Matter, all the black guys rather be deadbeats to pay your bills. Yeah.
Okay, they're talking about screaming the Black Lives Matters. And I understand with that what you're trying to do here. Saying, hey, you know what? People just tend to not be as worried as when people lose when black people die. I understand what you're saying, but I think in some cases, some black people are thinking they deserve more, which they do, but not to the extreme of what, and this is just my opinion, but of what they expect. See, if you're black, I'm assuming that you have a lot of respect for Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks, things like that. If you actually take the time and go through the history, neither one of them wanted to be put on a pedestal. They wanted only the same exact chances and opportunities as white people do. And I respect that. Now, I think that almost everybody, even if it's just a little tiny bit, it's a little bit racist. But, for example, they have the NAACP, they have black-only colleges. I read an article the other day on Facebook, I don't know what school it was, but the black people were petitioning to have their own space in school where it was black people only, so they could hang out, they could do their homework, they could have their black studies, their cultural music, whatever, and the whole bit, which it would be nice. But can you imagine if I was a billionaire or whatever, and I opened up a school and said, okay, sorry, it's white people only, no blacks allowed. Or if I had a medical clinic and said, sorry, you can't come in to get help because you're black. People would lose their minds. And not all, but some. And I think we need to strive for everybody on an equal playing ground. Everybody's the same across the board. I don't think we can try to have superiority over another race or another culture. And that's just my own opinion. So with the Black Lives Matter, I understand that, yes, Black lives do matter. And I understand the white people's saying, hey, all lives matter, because they do. But in order to do that, I think it may be, from my point of view, again, I could be wrong, you could say, you know what, dude, you're retarded, you need to be in a mental institution. That's cool, that's your prerogative. But what I'm thinking is, I started to lose my train of thought there, which is not hard because there's not a whole lot of dogs barking up here. I think that we just need to keep it on the same playing field and have everybody the same. And the only way we're going to do that is to understand each other. So I forget exactly where I was going with this now. I did have a pretty good point. But regardless with the all lives matters, I think, I know what I was going to say. As far as with the Black Lives Matters thing, as from a white person's point of view, is and I'm not saying you don't, but it sometimes appears to us that why should we go out of our way to make sure Black Lives Matters and respect you when a lot of the times it's not like it doesn't appear like you're respecting your own race. Now, I know people bring this up all the time, but look at Chicago or look at the US in general. Do you know what the leading cause of death is, violent death, of black men in the US? And that is other black men. If you want us to help you, you got to help yourselves. There's a lot of gun violence in the States. Everybody seems to have guns. I own guns. Actually, I probably shouldn't say this on the internet, but I do. I go with my buddies sometimes. We go out to the gun range, fire off a couple boxes of ammo, and have fun. I don't carry it with me. We can't. Legally, we can't carry it here. But I don't carry it with me or anything like that. And it's not made for other people. I just enjoy it. But where I'm from, if you and me are buddies, we're sitting down having a couple beers, somebody says something wrong, pisses somebody off. We go outside, we'll punch the shit out of each other. Whoever goes down permanently first, we help the dude up. We go back in the house, and 10 minutes later, we're having a beer, shooting the shit with the guy again, cracking jokes. And I don't understand, maybe it's just my point of view on things, but how needless, or how it appears a lot of, especially young black men, have such a lack of respect for life, or taking a life of somebody else. Whether they're stabbing him or shooting him or something like that. You know what? Somebody pisses you off, as far as I'm concerned, beat the hell out of them if they deserve it. But let them live another day. So if from the white person's point of view, not all, mine, if you want us to respect you, try, and which I do, don't get me wrong, but try to respect yourselves a little bit more. Especially when it comes to, if you are around raising your kids, you got to show them an example. And there's a lot of fucked up white people too. There is. I think you're like 10 times more likely to be a serial killer if you're white, kind of thing, or whatever. And they've got a lot of faults with their parenting and stuff too, and just as bad as the blacks, but I think it's just looked at a little bit differently, kind of thing. So that's what my comment on the Black Lives Matter there, anyways.
Nigga this and nigga that. Call everybody nigga and get a nigga mad. As soon as I say nigga, then everyone react and want to swing at me and call me racist because I ain't black.
Okay. For the using the N-word, this is what I don't understand. I've never had a desire to use the N-word. I've never found the need. But I know, like, if you've already watched a video, he explains why, like the black person's point of view explains why they use that term. And I understand, it's like a term of endearment. It's like kind of like busting your buddy's balls. I got lots of friends, and we're not like, oh, I love you, man, you're my brother, all that kind of stuff. It's like, oh, dude, you know what? Yeah, you're my brother. It's perfectly okay you got such a tiny dick. I still accept you, right? Or, oh, princess, you okay? How's your vagina today? Like, busting balls, I understand that, but in my outlook, the N-word is a very bad and vulgar name. Just the epitome. You can't get any lower than that. That's what I believe the N-word is. It would be the equivalent of calling me a child molester, a pedophile, right? So even though I bust my buddy's balls, I don't go, ha ha, hey, you little pedophile, how you doing, buddy? Diddling any kids lately? Oh yeah, you like the 4-year-olds, don't you? Like, I would never say that to anybody. I don't find, even as a joking term, how you'd want to call anybody something that bad and vulgar. And I know it's, as I said in there, it's like a term of endearment. Maybe you shouldn't say it, but you do. I would recommend, I shouldn't say recommend, but I think you know where I'm trying to come from this. Why use that word? Right? Why? Like, there's so many other things you can do that would be the equivalent of terms of endearment or busting balls or whatever you want to call it. But I think it would be a huge difference just to get rid of that word. And the whole bit. I don't think any white person should use that word. And I don't think any black person should use that word. I just think it's something. Now, in the video, he says that the N-word was originated to keep the black people down. Now, done some research on this. No, it wasn't. It was definitely a derogatory term used for a very, very long time to keep people down. But it was actually derived for when the people come, the black people come from the country of Niger. I'm from Canada, so if I come in the States, you can say, hey, this is Walrus, he's Canadian. So the people from Niger would be the N-word. Whether we want to put an A on the end or ER or whatever. So that's where it did originally come from, but you guys are right, it's been used as a derogatory term for a very long time. So I'd like to see, personally, as a white person, there's no need for that. On any race, at any time. Kind of thing. Especially when I've heard a lot of people calling their kids that. Little 3-year-olds or 4-year-olds run around and call them that word all the time. How can we improve ourselves and teach our children better if we're not putting an example? So, again, these are just my points, but I think I speak for, I think a lot of people, white people would, or from my culture, would agree with me on that. So.
Pound that then. Talking about slavery like you was around back then. Like you was picking cotton off the fucking ground back then. Like you was on the plantation getting down back then. Alright. Look. I see a black man aiming. Okay.
As far as the picking cotton and all that kind of stuff. I see both sides of that. It was a shitty deal your ancestors went through. You can't get more fucked up than that. But I do feel that it's wrong for you to blame me because your ancestors were slaves. Just like it'd be wrong for me to blame you if a loved one of mine was killed by a black man. You didn't fucking do it. So how could I be bad at you? Kind of thing. It's really screwed up, and I think it's important you know your history, you learn from your history. One thing that's very important, and don't believe me on this, please do your research online, is what a lot of people don't realize. When the slave trades and all that kind of stuff were going on, there was more white people, but there was a high percentage of black people that had black slaves. A high percentage of black people that kidnapped black people and sold them as slaves. So it wasn't just the white person. It was just fucked up people. Kind of thing. So, and as I said, anything that I say, I get a lot of my information from the internet. So anything on the internet, you know, is 100% right. But as far as I know, it's the right information. So.
His gun, but I'd rather see a black man claiming his son. And I don't mean just the one Daniel.
Okay, he's talking about the black man claiming his son. There's a lot of people that abandon their children. But I know, being on the fire department answering ambulance calls, in the low-income housing and areas and ghettos, whatever you want to call them, that I went to, there are a lot of men that abandon their kids. There is also a lot of women that have multiple kids from multiple fathers who are on assistance, and they're more than happy to tell you that they have more kids because they get more money. They get so much more a month in food stamps, they get so much more a month on their check. And I think that's fucked up. I don't have any kids. The reason I don't have any kids is I've never felt a time in my life where I thought, you know what? I'm in a good place. Financially, I'm secure. And I think I could offer a great life for my children. I've never been in that situation. It's always been, I've worked a dangerous profession where I could be killed, or financially I'm not secure, or anything like that. And I think, like, you can go to the health department and get free condoms. You want to bang all the chicks you like, go for it. But if you're responsible enough to have sex, you should be responsible enough to know the consequences, and if you don't want children, how to avoid them. Right? So, and again, I could be wrong, I could be retarded, but it's just my opinion.
Done. I mean, you still trapped in a rut. I work my ass off and pay my taxes for what? So you can keep living off free government assistance, food stamps for your children, but you still trying to sell them for some weed and some liquor or a fucking babysitter while you party on the road because you ain't got no fucking goals?
Okay. I have seen this a fair bit. There's a lot of white people on welfare too. A lot of people, white people on that have food stamps. Like in Canada, we don't have food stamps. They just give you a certain amount on a check every month. But it's from different races, there's a lot of people on it. But I know, like when I was down on the fire department, it was a volunteer position, even though they're paying for my schooling. And in order to get money, I had to work at the Olive Garden. Right? Oh, big money there, especially because I was such a shitty waiter. I didn't get very much tips. But I know, running the calls all the time, if I'm not working at the Olive Garden, I'm answering calls the rest of the day and night, in the middle of the night, the whole bit. Sometimes I'm dog tired trying to keep up. And you see people that you know are on welfare, and the whole bit, their kids are hungry, and you suspect they're slinging dope, but you don't know. But they've got the gold teeth, they've got the big expensive chains, 20 pairs of running shoes, the latest clothes. And from my point of view, you're thinking, dude, I am working my fucking ass off. And you appear to have a whole lot more than I do. How do you do it? How? Because you go at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the afternoon and you're just waking up out of bed? And things like that. Again, it's not all people by any means. I've met some awesome black people. I've worked with a lot of awesome black people on the fire department and stuff, and a lot of the times when the shit hits the fan and I'm in it deep, there's some black people I want behind me more than some of the white people I've worked with. And the whole bit. And when I've had people in the back of my ambulance and stuff like that, as I said at the beginning, I like to learn about other cultures, other people, different things. So I ask questions, and I would say if I had them in the back of my ambulance there and I'd ask them some questions, I'd say about 85 to 90% of black men between the ages of 15 and 30 want to be either rappers or play in the NBA or sling dope and just be like players, right? Doing drive-bys, kicking ass, whatever. And I have come across them, but in the lower income areas, it wasn't very often I would talk to a black kid and he'd say, you know what, I want to be an engineer. I love to build things. I want to be a doctor or a lawyer, or I want to, whatever, be an architect. I very seldom heard that. And you can't control where you grow up, but you can control to a point of your goals and how hard you're willing to work for them. I'm not saying they're great professions. Heck, working in construction is a good profession if that's something you like. But I didn't hear that a whole lot. So I understand where Mr. Lucas's opinion for the white guy, where a lot of these stereotypical things is he's going to the extremes, but I understand what he's trying to say, the white person's saying. It's like, dude, I'm working my ass off here and they seem to be having a better life than I do. But as I said, I've met some black people that's worked their asses off too, and everything they have, they've worked hard for. They might not have a lot, but everything they have, they've earned themselves. So I understand that and I respect that. But just maybe sometimes I'm hoping that what this long video. I'm already at 34 minutes. I can't believe it's went this long, and I'm not done yet. I'm hoping you can look at that and say, you know what, I never looked at it that way. And I'm hoping maybe you could provide some feedback to say, you know what, so I can say, that's a good idea, that's a good point, I've never looked at it that way. And I think it's people like you or me that need to do things like this in order to start a change. Everybody says they want change, but what are you willing to do to actually make a change?
You already late. You motherfuckers need to get your damn priorities straight. Wait. It's like you're proud to be fake, but you lazy as fuck. And you rather sell drugs and get a job and be straight, and then you turn around and complain about the poverty rate. Fuck out of my face.
Again, that just goes back to what are you willing to do to better your life? And I think that people in all colors that are around that tend to go into dealing drugs because it's a little bit too easy. I think that circumstances that we have to be real damn hard. I mean, real damn hard. For me to sell drugs, almost always there's some sort of other avenue you can go down. It may not be ideal, but I don't have much financially. I'm screwed, especially since I become sick. But it's I think you know what I'm trying to say there.
You can't escape problems. You can pray for some change, but can't break a dollar. Got nobody else to blame, so you blame Donald. They fucked the world with a Make America Great condom.
Okay, I know a lot of black people are against Donald Trump and say that, hey, it's all about whether Barack Obama or Donald Trump or anything like that. I can't vote in the U.S. I'm Canadian. But the first time around, I would have voted for Obama. I liked what he had to say. Now, after seeing him in for 2 full terms, I don't think he was a very good president. But at the time, I would have voted for him if I had the chance. They comment in this video here about us getting Obama out and bringing Trump in. Obama went his full term. He couldn't go anymore. And the reason that Trump got in was, I'll admit, there wasn't a real great candidate this time around. I think he's a little bit more honest than Hillary. Honest to a fault. He says a lot of shit he shouldn't. He's like a drunk uncle. He may have a good intentions mind, he just didn't say half the shit he should. But there's a lot of things I don't agree with either. But the reason there's a white president in there, no black person ran for president. If we can encourage the kids to get a good education, to go out, to become president, to have more black people in politics, we would have that exchange. We really would. The government is fucked up, but I don't think it's fucked up just because of the white people. I think it's partially fucked up because of lack of black people in it. And I'm sure you know in politics, you have to work a long time to get up in that range where kind of thing. So it's a big commitment, but I think you black people should be proud. Proud of what they could accomplish, proud of what they do, or their potential. You just got to see it in yourselves. And reach for the stars, dude. Reach for the stars.
Back. I'm not racist. My sister's boyfriend's black. I'm not racist. My sister-in-law's baby cousin Tracy got a brother and his girlfriend's black. My head's in the cloud. Heard there's not enough jobs for all the men in your house. Maybe we should build a wall to keep the Mexicans out. Or maybe we should send them all to the ghetto for now. I'm not racist. And I never lied, but I think there's a disconnect between your culture and mine. I worship
exactly. A disconnect between your culture and mine. I don't think it's because you're black, it's because you're white. As I said previously, it's a culture that, or it's the culture. I don't understand like that area you live in, the financial situation you're in, and that's why I'm hoping maybe some of this can bring down a wall or two.
It's Steve Jobs, but you ride Tupac's dick like he was a fucking god. Oh my god!
I'll admit, I don't see a whole lot of appeal in Tupac, but that's a cultural thing. I for the rap music, I love music. I'm a big music nut. But I'm 600 years old, so I love 70s and 80s music, especially the rock and stuff, or white people music, what do you want to call it. I've never been a huge fan of rap. But from the little bit of rap that I do hear, it seems like, I'm not saying it is, but it seems like a lot of it is drinking Hennessy, getting with the bitches and hoes. You fuck with me, I'm going to shoot you, I'm going to kill you. We're going to sell dope, we got all the money. I very seldom hear a rapper that could rap, I'm sure there's some out there, but rap about be a man, provide for your family, right? Teach your kids right. There's a lot of music I used to listen to about drinking and partying and getting down with the ladies and the whole bit, but I think, in my opinion, a lot of the rap music does hurt you. If you hear something all the time, you're going to start to believe it. You might have pretty good self-confidence, but if I'm around you all the time and I say, you know what? You're the N-word. You're no good. You're stupid. You're retarded. You're never going to amount to nothing. You're scum. You're a cockroach. If you hear that all the time, you're going to start to believe it. Okay, no more on that. I just got this new S8 phone and I have to keep turning it on every time. I just haven't figured out the screensaver yet.
Rapping and stunting and being ratchet, and that's the nigga within you. Music rotting your brain and slowly start to convince you. Then you let your kids listen and then the cycle continues. Blame it all on the menu, blame it on those drinks, blame it on everybody except for your own race. Blame it on white privileges, blame it on white kids, and just blame it on white citizens. Aim at the vice president. Bunch of class clowns. Niggas kneeling on the field, that's a flag down. How dare you try to make demands for this money? You gonna show us some respect?
Okay. When you said the N-words are kneeling on the football field, the flag down. Here's my opinion on this. It appears to me that a lot of people that were kneeling for that from the NFL about, first of all, did look like they were disrespecting their country, the soldiers, stuff like that. But as far as the police go, a lot of them that were kneeling had criminal records. Like, sometimes pretty severe. And I can't understand, and I won't be able to understand, the relationship between black people and police. I've never been stereotyped like that. But because I work in emergency services, we've done a lot of runs with police. I have some friends that are police officers. And if you come out of your house and there's a dude standing there with a pair of fucking bunny ears on, and he throws a baseball at your head, right? And for the next 3 weeks, every time you come out of your house, there's some dude out there or some woman out there with a pair of bunny ears on that keeps throwing a baseball at your head. Well, pretty soon you're going to say, fuck you, you bunny ears, get away from me, I don't like you. It could be a nice guy wearing the bunny ears, but if you've been hit with enough baseballs, you're going to say, fuck you, stay away. Right? And with police, they're dealing with shit all day. There is some bad cops out there. There are some really good cops, and there's a lot of cops that are black. But if you're dealing with shit all day, people lying to you all the time, people trying to hurt you or hurt others, or deal with people that rape little kids or grandmas or anything like that, pretty soon you're going to start to have a dislike for certain cultures. And it's not necessarily 100% right, but I can definitely understand that kind of thing. And as I said, I don't understand the racial discrimination from police, but I've been on a lot of calls with them, and I know there's been a lot of calls where the police say, hey, and stop a group of black guys. And they're like, fuck man, what are you bothering me for? I didn't do nothing wrong. What do you need to see my ID? Fucking leave me alone, man. Right? But what they don't know is the police are investigating a call of a group of young black men that just shoplifted from a store. They got to check you out, or they might get a call that says, hey, there's a group of these guys, and I'm pretty sure the one guy's carrying a gun. You might not have done something wrong, but I could be wrong. But I personally, even though I've been on a lot of calls with police, I've never seen or been involved in something where the cops come up to me and said, hey, what are you doing? Like, can I see your ID? And I'm like, sure, officer. Yeah. It's giving your ID. What's it going to hurt? Where are you going to? Oh, I was just go to the store. I'm going back home now. There's a good program coming on TV. If you treat them with respect and help them do their job, like as far as giving your ID, don't give any lip, I think it would be a lot better. Because, like, I've never seen a cop just driving down the road and all of a sudden just start beating the piss out of somebody for no reason. Even with some of the black kids that got shot and lost their lives and stuff like that, they were either just committed a crime, or it appeared they were committing a crime. They were carrying a weapon. They were getting aggressive. They were doing whatever, where if they would have just been calm and say, you know what, let the cop do their job so I can get on, I think there'd be a lot of less deaths. And the thing is I hope you guys stop and realize for a minute, can you imagine this world if there was no police, there was no law? This would be the worst country in the world, like North America. There'd be rapes, there'd be people kicking in their doors, stealing everything you have, everything. And it's the people we know, if we're in shit and we got no other choice, we can call the cops and they'll be there. At least in my opinion. You might have a different story with that. And I won't fully understand racism in police. But in a majority, I honestly believe the majority of police are good people. Whether they be white cops, black cops, Asian cops, whatever. There's bad in all groups. There's police officers who have been arrested for rape and everything else. But I think the police do deserve a little bit more respect than sometimes they get. And I'll leave it at that.
Bet you gonna stand for this country, nigga. I'm not racist. I'm just prepared for this type of war. I heard Eminem's rap at the awards. Who's he fighting for? Y'all can take that motherfucker too. He ain't white no more. It's like you want to be so famous. You'll do anything for attention and a little payment. I can't take you nowhere without people pointing fingers. Pants hanging off your ass. You ain't got no home training. Put your fucking pants up, nigga. Put that suit back on. Take that do-rag off. Take that coat out your mouth. Quit the pitiful stuff. And then maybe police will stop killing you fucks. So what the fuck? I'm not racist.
Okay. I think some of the culture you guys do, you guys have, and like things you wear, how you wear your hair, the way you talk, the way your music is amazing. But this is going to filter into where the black person's point of view about how he tries to get a job and how we call him back. I've been in a predicament. I was a captain. So people would come to me applying for jobs sometimes. And as I said, I got black people on my crew and everything. Skin color is not something I personally look at. But it's how are you going to do the job? How are you going to treat the people you interact with? And it may be your culture you grow up with. But if you're black and you come to me for a job and say, listen, I'd like to apply for a job. I'm really interested in working here. I think I could do good. This area interests me. And I think it'd be interesting to learn to grow with the company a little bit, get some experience, and show you what I have to offer. Chances are I'll probably give you a shot. But if you come in and go with your pants down around your ass and go, yo, what's up, man? I'm just wondering if you're hiring. You know, I need to get me some dollars and stuff. And you've got a mouthful of gold and the whole bit. Can you imagine if I hired somebody like that? And they would come in, you have a customer come in, a little old lady, and say, excuse me, has my parcel come in yet? Yo, you know what? That motherfucker hasn't come in yet, man, but you should probably bounce for today. Maybe check back tomorrow. I'll see if I can get you. I'm not gonna fucking hire you. You can't. You might be able to talk like that to your buddy. But in a business world, you gotta connect, or conduct yourself properly. There's been jobs where I've had to wear a suit. I don't like wearing a fucking suit. I think I look ridiculous in a suit. Well, I look ridiculous anyways, but I don't like it. But it's something that we have to do in order to blend in with society, in order to become that kind of thing. I'm not saying you got to wear a suit in there, but again, hoping that you can look at it from a different perspective. And if you guys are gracious enough, and I pray that you are, that you answer my video and try to teach me some things too that I can learn. And think, you know what, shit man, I never thought about that before. That is a good idea or something. So, like, it's cool the way a lot of you do, and I know, and this may sound racist and I don't mean to be, but when it comes to hair, you guys got the short end of the stick sometimes. There's some black guys I've seen and black women that there's not a whole lot you can do with your hair. But it's all because of your culture, where you come from. Your hair is a particular way because of the environment you came from. Where it's damn hot in Africa. It's the sun, the air, the protection from the elements, stuff like that, and that's why you're like that. But so I know there's not a whole lot of options for different things, but I don't know, I'll leave it at that.
It's like we're living in the same building but split into 2 floors. I'm not racist, but there's 2 sides to every story. I wish that I knew yours.
And I think that's what I'm hoping to do. Learn my story and I'll learn yours. And maybe between us, we do a couple videos back and forth. Maybe other people can get in and start realizing too. It's nice to talk, but unless we actually want to change the way things are, we're going to have to work for it.
With all disrespect, I don't really like you white motherfuckers. That's just where I'm at. Screaming all lives matter is a protest to my protest. What kind of shit is that? And that's one war you'll never win. The power in the word nigga is a different sin. We shouldn't say it, but we do, and that's just what it is. But that don't mean that you can say it just because you got nigga friends. Nigga.
Okay, I've already talked on that about the using the N-word and the whole bit. So I think I made myself clear on that. I don't think anybody should use it. I just wish we will stop. And definitely, even if you choose to use it and use it around your friends, don't let white people or anybody else use that word. There's no need to use that word. I can't think of any situation that you need to use that. And I promise you I'll never use it unless we're having a conversation about that word. And I need to insert it in the conversation. But I would never call anybody that.
That word was originated for you to keep us under. And when we use it, we know that's just how we greet each other. And when you use it, we know there's a double meaning under. And even if I wasn't picking cotton physically, that don't mean I'm not affected by the history. My grandmama was a slave. That shit gets to me, and you ain't got
okay,
no motherfucking
I'm sorry,
sympathy.
but his grandmother was not a slave unless she still lives overseas in a fucked up country. Slavery was a long damn time ago. Now, it's very possible he meant that his grandmother was involved in the segregation schools or had to drink from the black-only water fountains. That's fucked up. But I'm positive his grandmother was not a slave. Maybe his great-great-great-grandmother was. I'm sure that's possible, but... Okay.
Pussy nigga!
Now, he just said that the black guy just said to the white guy, you don't have the right to call me the N-word. I can use it with my friends, but you can't call me the N-word. But the black guy just called the white guy the N-word. So how can you expect us to respect you if you don't respect us back? It's a two-way street, and white people are just as bad as black people. But think about that for a minute. Also later, he calls him a cracker. And even though cracker isn't as severe as the N-word is, the cracker comes from when there was slavery, and if you did have a white slave owner, the crackers who used to crack the whip. It's a derogatory term, but not near as bad as the N-word. But if you want us to stop calling you the N-word, which I know there's a lot of white people that do, I don't, but don't call us the N-word, don't call us a cracker. right? I don't care if you call us a freaking moron, but you shouldn't do that. And that's just my opinion.
You never feel my life. Trying to have faith, but I never felt alright. It's hard to elevate when this country's ran by whites, judging me by my skin color and my blackness. Trying to find a job, and ain't nobody call me back yet. Now I gotta sell drugs and put food in my cabinet. You crackers ain't slick. This is all a part of your tactics. Don't talk about no motherfucking taxes. When I ain't making no dough, you think you?
The job thing, it goes back to what I already said. I think you've got to go out of your way to make sure you got a job. Nobody's called me back yet. Well, it is hard to get a job. It is. But I know some jobs I couldn't sit and wait for a call. I had to bug the piss out of them. Going in 3-4 times a week, calling. Even though they have 5 copies of my resume, drop off a 6th one. Show initiative. You'll work for it. And it's hard. It really is hard to get a job. And I can only assume it's harder for black people because, as I said, I've hired black people, but not all white people will. Because of the stereotypes and everything else. But I think if you're sitting on the corner all the time slinging dope, if that's the profession you chose, and you have to do it to feed your family, I can understand that. But how about you sling dope for 2 hours and then go work on a job for 2 hours? It's just, I know dope is really easy, fast money, but it's, as I said in the beginning, I believe I'm Christian, I believe in God, I believe in Jesus. And when we die, I honestly believe in my heart, we're all going to have to answer for what we did in our lives. And God says in the Bible, He will never give us any problems that we can't handle. He never said it'll be fucking easy. But He said we can handle them. And it's all the effort we put into it. So it's just something to ponder. You might not believe in God, I don't know. But that's just my belief. Oh, this fucking phone, I'm gonna kill it. Don't get the Samsung S8. It's a pain in the freaking ass.
Know everything, but you don't. You want to copy our slang and everything that we know. Try to steal black culture and make it your own. Whoa.
We've stole some black culture, yeah.
I can't even drive without the cops trying to start shit. I'm tired of this systematic racism bullshit. All you do is false shit. This the shit that I'm false with. You don't know shit about my people. That's what bothers you. You don't know about no fried chicken or no barbecue. You don't know about the 2-step or no loose change. You don't know about no 2 chains or no Kool-Aid. You don't know.
Okay.
And even though Barack...
This one kind of makes me mad. I feel in this situation, even though I love the video, I love what he's saying, I don't think he's portraying black people very well here. You guys have a lot to offer. You guys have a lot of obstacles. A lot of things you've overcome and a lot of things you've yet to overcome. But putting the main part of the rap down to, or hip-hop, whatever you want to call it, down to you don't know about fried chicken or barbecue, the 2-step, or 2 chains or Kool-Aid. Do you really think that's what, as a black person, that's what you should be putting in as food? And second of all, look at this. You can't tell me I don't know about fucking fried chicken and Kool-Aid, pal. Alright? No, but there's a lot more points I think he could have brought up. A lot more serious points than basically food and drink. Maybe I'm not understanding it. Maybe the Kool-Aid goes back to that's the only thing you could drink because that's all the money you had is to afford a 30-cent package of Kool-Aid or whatever it is. I don't know. Maybe I'm missing that. But I don't think you were very well, like black people were very well represented there. And all in all, and I know this sounds bad, but let's say it was white and black people that were rapping back and forth. As far as it wasn't right, but I think if you had to evaluate it, I think the white guy kind of won. I think the black guy could have made a lot more valid points than just saying about the food, saying, you don't understand, you don't know what it's like to be me, which you're right, we don't. But tell me what it's like to be you. Tell me the problems that you have that you need, that you're having problems overcoming, so I can understand. But just saying vague shit is not going to help anybody.
I was half as black, You hated President Obama, I know that's a fact. You can't wait to get him out and put a cracker back, and then you gave us Donald Trump, and that was payback for that.
Okay, I commented on that too. Encourage more black people to get into politics. Start running for city council or county council and start up that way. And I mentioned that to somebody and they said, well, they won't black people in. Black people are a minority, but there's still a shitload of you. And if you pool together, you can support your black politicians and get them into office. Let them get in at a low level like a city or county council. Then they can prove themselves, you know what? That dude's actually doing some pretty damn good work. And then some white people or Hispanic or Asian or whatever will start voting for him too, and he can work up by his merits, not who he knows. And I wish more people would do that. Because I'm not a left wing or right wing dedicated. I'm to the person that whoever is in front of me, I will vote for the person I think is going to do the best job. I don't care if they're fucking purple with pink polka dots. As I said, I can't vote in the US, I'm Canadian, but this round, I would have voted for Trump just for the fact of I believe he's more, like, he might be fucked up, but I think he's more honest than what Hillary is. Hillary, I think, in my personal opinion, is a conniving bitch that will do anything for her to get ahead. When Bill Clinton came into office, I think, I've got these numbers wrong, but they were worth something like 20 million. When he left office, they were worth over 100 million. Now, how can you do that working on supposed to be a government salary if you weren't doing some really shady shit? And I thought, you know what? Trump's already a millionaire. He doesn't have to work for money. Or a billionaire. He doesn't have to work for money. So even though he's fucked up what he says and he speaks like a drunk uncle, I think he's trying to do good. He might not be doing a great job, but I think he's trying to. And I think that's all we can ask. He's not a great candidate by any means. But I do feel that he was better than Hillary. But we had to vote for him because there was no black people running. Anybody that's a U.S. citizen, to the best of my knowledge, if they go out, they pound the pavement, they get enough signatures, they can put their name on the ballot for president. So reach for the stars, guys.
I never lied, but I noticed the disconnect between your culture and mine. Yeah, I praised Tupac like he was a fucking god. He was fighting for his life way before he fucking died, nigga. Die, nigga. And all you care about is money and power and being ugly, and that's the cracker within you.
All you care about is power and money and being ugly. That's it. I fucking lose it. What's wrong with being ugly? Oh shit, I hit the fucking wrong button here. Here we go.
For that, I'm not racist. I never lied, but I noticed the disconnect between your culture and mine. Yeah, I praised Tupac like he was a fucking god. He was fighting for his life way before he fucking died, nigga. Die, nigga. And all you care about is money and power and being ugly, and that's the cracker within you. Hatred all in your brain that slowly starts to convince you, then you teach it to your children until the cycle continue. Blame it on Puerto Rico, blame it on OJ, blame it on everybody except for your own race. Blame it on black niggas and blame it on black citizens. Aim at the black businesses. I ain't saying I'm innocent, but I might be any day now. Treating everybody how you want in any way how. I swear North Korea about to bomb us any day now. And now I'm ducking every time I hear a fucking plane now. Shit. You know I make a lot of sense, but you just can't admit it. When Eminem went against Trump, that was the illest. Because even though he's white, he let us know he's standing with us. I'm not racist, but I cry.
It's alright, I'm not a fan of
Eminem. You don't know what
Eminem,
it's like to be in a frying pot. You don't know what it's like to mind your business and get stopped by the cops. And I know if you about to die or not. You worry about your life, so you take mine. I love you, but I fucking hate you at the same time.
That's cool.
I wish we could trade shoes, so we could change lives, so we can understand each other more, but that'll take time. I'm not racist. It's like we living in the same building, but split into both sides. I'm not racist. But there's two sides of every story, and now you know mine.
That's awesome. That's awesome. That's a very powerful video. They hug at the end, which I think is phenomenal. The first time I seen it, I'll admit I was a little sucky baby la cheap ass, and I had a little bit of tears in my eyes. I think this needs to happen a lot more. Right? I think if we open conversation, we're not racist, But say, listen, dude, this is the problem I have with your culture. And you can say, this is the problem I have with yours. Why do you do that? Why is this particular thing important to you? And we just need to discuss it and be openly. But this all, oh, I should be given more. I should be, everybody should be doing more to help me. If you go back to our ancestors in the 60s, once the segregation and stuff was pretty much getting rid of and they integrated everybody in the stools and stuff, I think if you do some research, you will find whether you're black, white, whatever, nobody had shit. Whatever our grandparents or whatever had, they worked their fucking asses off for. And you might not agree with this, but I believe that's true. And I believe that the culture today, and this is including myself, we don't work as hard or put enough effort in as we should be in life, as we should be to helping others, as we should be looking after our families. And that's a everybody thing. That's not a culture thing or a color thing. But this has already went over an hour. I apologize. If you're still with me, you're fucking awesome. But I hope that you can watch this, and I would really like to get some sort of responses from you people. I know not all you are. I'm going to put some hashtags or whatever in the comments and try to alert you to my video to see if you'd watch it. As I said, technically I'm not very good, but I got to take a leak real bad, so I'm going to end it. But thank you. Thank you very much, and I really look forward to hearing from you, whether you're black or white or Asian or fucking purple or whatever. I'd be interested to hear what you say. Alright, take care guys. I love you.